Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Movie Mondays on JC Productions. And today we're going to be talking about the film Kill Bill Volume 1. I didn't watch both volumes because they're like 2 hours each, so I don't have time for that. Today we're talking about Kill Bill Volume 1, which was 2003 it came out. And yeah, it came out in 2003 and it was directed by Tarantino, I think. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino is what I believe, which it says. Quentin Tarantino, Kill Bill Volume 1, 2003, and it says the runtime is 111 minutes. So that's all the details we have for that. I will go through the cast now. The cast. Number 1, we have Uma Thurman as the bride, who she has also been Mia Wallace in Pulp Fiction, Poison Ivy in Batman and Robin, and Medusa in Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Not the new Disney Plus series, but the film, like back in 2010. And then you have O-Ren, played by Lucy Liu, who was Alex Monday in Charlie's Angels, Viper in Kung Fu Panda, Calypso in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. You've got Bill from Kill Bill, who is played by David Carradine, who was Kwai Chang in Kung Fu, and the Master in Big Stan. You then have Vernita Green, who was played by Vivica A. Fox, who was Jasmine Debro in Independence Day, and Loretta Black in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Then as Gogo Yabari in the film, you have Chiaki Kariyama, who has been in a ton of Japanese films, but also Battle Royale and Azumi 2, Death or Love. And then for the final person we've got on the cast list that I've written down, because I just put down like a few people in it, we have Elle Driver played by Daryl Hannah, who was Madison in Splash, and now Doofy DeSato in Steel Magnolias, and Pris in Blade Runner. And I'm going to show you a picture now because as I was watching it, I did make note of an outfit which I thought looks really cool. And it was this outfit, because as you can see, the details on the coat, it's just like drawn on. It's not actual details of the coat. It's like stitched on kind of, but it looks very like cartoonist on the outfit, which I thought looked very impressive on there. Okay, so the overview of what I've got for this is there's a lot of blood in the film, so which I'm not really a fan of blood. It really puts me off, and also like I have a kind of a phobia of blood, so like if I see blood, I'm like, ugh. So not the best film for that if you don't like blood. So yeah, if you do have that phobia, I would not watch because there's a ton of blood, unless you think you can handle it, in which case go ahead. So the film starts where you've got the bride character, the main character, played by Uma Thurman, who you see her get shot in the head at her wedding, and then after that she survives, and then she goes on to hunt down and kill the people who attacked her and left her for dead and tried to kill her. And that's pretty much what the film's about. So she has like a list where she goes killing off the people one by one. This is like volume 1, so she doesn't do the whole list. I think she only gets a couple names off the list in this one. But she does go to get a sword from Japan, I'm pretty sure. And so when she goes there, she gets someone who trained O-Ren. Yeah, And then she gets him to make her a sword because he's there saying like, "Oh, I don't make weapons of destruction anymore." And then she's just there convincing him to do it. But yeah, that's what I've got. She was pregnant at the time as well when she got shot in the head and left for dead. So she believes her child is dead. So as she's going around doing these, like, killing people, she's trying to get justice because she's like, oh, not only did you kill me, but you killed my child. And then at the end of the film, there's a whole revelation of her child still alive, but she just doesn't know it because it's like she goes and kills like billions of people in the Yakuza. And then the Bill, he goes like, oh, does she know her child's alive? And then the person's there like, no, she don't. So that's probably something that's worked out in chapter 2, well, not chapter 2, volume 2, which I haven't seen, but it did come out the year after in 2004, what I've seen. Okay, so I'm going to go through notes which I had as I was watching this film, because I just gave you an overview, but it's like that probably sounded very brief and like elusive because I didn't really understand a lot of what was going on. So I'm just going to, because as I was going through, I'm making notes, so I'm just like, this is all that's going on in my head. So I'm going to read out, so you can probably get a process of how my thought process was throughout the whole film. Okay. As the film started, as I was watching it, and the whole scene of when there's like, it's her wedding and she gets shot in the head, outside my house, an ice cream van had gone by. And so it's like doing that entertaining music where it's like do 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 do, that song. And then so I thought that was part of the film, to be honest. And I thought, what an odd piece of music to put in this place. But no, it wasn't part of the film. And it did take me a while to realise that. So yeah, I thought, yeah, quite odd considering it is a scene of a woman covered in blood. I thought, yeah, it doesn't fit at all. I did put quite vivid colour after black and white, because the start of the film when she gets shot in the head, it's like black and white, and then it goes to colour, and then there's a bit after that where it like goes like to like an anime style, and then to black and white. No, then anime to colour, then black and white to colour. It like keeps changing throughout, so it's always like for different styles and like feels fresh. So yeah, because she's going on the list, she goes to attack Vernita Green on the list, and as she's fighting, because she like turns up to the house, and the woman's just there, like she knows, because like she knows who she is, because she used to be like an assassin, and so she's shocked to see that she's alive, and then they start fighting, and it's like they just like keep smashing each other into tables and like just fighting and everything, and then as they're doing this, like they keep like getting knives, go stab, 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 and so it's like they're both fully covered in blood. And then the woman's daughter walks in, not the bride, because she doesn't know her daughter's life. Daughter, son, I don't know what the child is. I don't know if it's a son or daughter. You know, but the Vernita Green, isn't it? No, Vernita Green's daughter walks in, and she's just walks into the scene of her mum covered in blood, and she's just like, oh, what's happened? Like, because she sees all the glasses on, she's like, what's happened? And then the mum's just like, oh, that darn dog of yours coming in, like making a mess. And it's just like, the daughter probably knows that it's like, that's not right, because it's like a tense atmosphere itself. And so that both of them just have like knives behind their back, trying to hide it from the kid. And then the kid goes upstairs because the mum says like, oh, I'm fine, you just go ahead and go upstairs. And then as she does, they stop fighting, her and the bride. And as like they're going out, so she's like, oh, what, do you want like tea or something? And she's like, oh, okay, get me tea. And so she puts her knife down. And then Vernita goes to her cupboard, gets out a box of cereal, and then she's just like reaching in, and then she goes like lifts it up and goes bang, and like shoots a gun from inside the cereal box. Like, who keeps guns in cereal boxes anyway? You have to like pre-think that sort of stuff. But I mean, she was like a deadly assassin, so I guess she would be prepared after being in that line of work. But yeah, so in my notes, she just goes, what the flip? She just shoots for a cereal box, and then the blonde one just throws a knife at her. Because like after, like she shoots and misses her, and then she just like whips her knife out and goes bonk, throws it and it hits the woman in the chest, and then she just like up against the counter like that, and then she dies. Spoiler alert, even though I have already told you about the child still being alive. But you wouldn't watch this if you hadn't seen the film, forget about it. But also, when they say about the bride's name, it keeps being bleeped in the film. So it's like, why? I don't know why that is. Is that just because it's meant to be like seen like more secret agency and stuff like that? But it is bleeped, and I haven't looked into why because I haven't had time. But that was an interesting thing. It's just like, why is the name bleeped? Why did the sheriff need so many sunglasses? Because it goes to a flashback of when they find the scene of when she's been shot in the head, and the sheriff who's driving up, all his dashboard is sunglasses, and he's wearing sunglasses himself. It's like, who needs that many sunglasses, dude? Get a hobby. That's not collecting sunglasses. Yeah, because when the detective goes in, he's there like, oh, look at such a pretty woman, like on like her wedding day and everything, and it's just like, why is this sheriff perving on a dead woman? I mean, what? You can't be a professional if you're just like there being a pervert, going like, oh, look at this cute little dead body, and he's like, oh, she's alive. It's like, what there? Like, you could just check this stuff out and like check the crime scene before you start being disgusting, you know. Even though you shouldn't be in the first place. But, you know, it's a film, I suspend my disbelief. The white coat with details printed on looked great, not gonna lie. That's the one I showed you in the picture. Who came up with these code names? Because they all had, like, really weird code names, like Copperhead. I don't even know if that was it. It was like Copper Summit. I can't remember if it's Copperhead or not. But it was, like, names like that. And, like, Snake Summit. But, yeah. So a lot of weird names, code names. The one who was Al Driver. There's like when the bride ends up in hospital, as she's there, the other woman goes in, like the blonde one, who had that really cool coat. She's there, like going like, "Oh, I'll kill her off, like for good, like make sure she's dead." And so she has a needle, putting it into her arm, and she's just there saying like, "Oh, you get the easy way out, dying in your sleep and everything." And then she gets on the phone. I think it's with Bill, and he's there saying like, "No, we can't do that to her. We need to give her more." Not justice, more respect than that, really. It's like, you've tried to kill her, she's still alive. Like, what is the point just going like, oh no, just leave her in hospital to heal and then we'll kill her in a different time? It's just like, if only she had like pressed that like needle into her arm to kill her off before answering that phone, all of their problems would have been solved. It's like none of the other people in the film would have died if they had just done that needle. I know you shouldn't really be rooting for the main character to have been killed off at the start, and that's not what I was hoping for, because, you know, she didn't, from what I've seen in the first film, she didn't deserve to die. I mean, I think she is meant to be the good person in it, but again, I am so confused with what's going on. But it's like, you're a bad guy. Why do you like? Why are you so terrible at being bad? I mean, if you're gonna be like an awful person, at least do a good job of it, you know. Just, and it's like, yeah, why are there morals to bad guys about not killing people in their sleep? Because it lowers them. Yeah, because he's just like, oh, if we kill her that like in her sleep, then it will lower our reputation. It's like, well, what do you expect? You're like, why can't just do it? Finish the job. And yeah, there's a mosquito scene where the mosquito goes on her arm, and I think, is that the time she wakes up? Yeah, I think that's when she wakes up, because like the mosquito goes on her arm. And it's like, you did not need that close at scene, because it's like digging into her arm, and it's just really gross. She should become an actress playing dead like that, because when the doctor walks in, she's just there like pretending to be like she's still in her coma. And the doctor is the worst, grossest man ever. He he has a line which I really hate. His if this is a quote of this character who's that doctor who works in the hospital. My name's Buck, and I'm here to fuck. I literally have the vomit emojis coming after my notes because I just, he is the grossest, cringiest man ever. And that, I don't think that's ever like an understatement. I think any film we watch in this podcast, no one will be as gross or cringy as that dude. And then because he has like a car as well, and like on the chain, he has a keychain for the car keys, and then on the bumper of the car, both have Pussy Wagon on it. It's like, what? Who? Why? Why are you so gross, man? You're just the worst. Yeah. I mean, if you couldn't tell when I say like who's my worst character in it, it is that hospital guy who's Buck, whatever his name is. Just, he's the worst. And did we really need the close-up scene of the feet where she's just there like going, oh yeah, I have, like, because she wheels herself out in a wheelchair because she's been in a coma for 4 years, so she hasn't walked, so her legs aren't working properly, and so she's there trying to get her feeling in her legs so she can walk or basically drive off. And so she's trying to get feeling in her legs, and as she's doing it, they just keep doing a close-up of the feet. And did we really need that? I mean, was like Dan Schneider a consultant for the film or something? Is that why it's there? We didn't really need it. I mean, you could have done it for like a couple of seconds if you had to have it in for the story, but you didn't need to focus on it that much because no one needs to see that, to be honest. I mean, in my opinion anyway. Whoa, my notes just turned upside down. We get an anime-style flashback for one of the characters' backstories, which was O-Ren. Was it O-Ren? Yeah, it was. About her parents dying while being murdered. And then she kills the person who murdered her parents. And then it goes on like, oh, she became an assassin, and then like blah, 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 and goes like through a whole backstory, which I thought is quite interesting to see it go from live action, where it's like it started black and white, then to like a colourful thing, and then to this like anime style. And it's like with that, like normally you go like, oh, did they run out of budget things? But I think it looks intentional. It didn't look like a budget issue. And then also it does have a nice change of pace to the rest of the film, because it just like does break it up, and then it does offer like different insights, and you can get like, oh look, this is like a nice artistic visual thing. When she goes into this Japanese place where she's trying to get the sword, so she goes in pretending she doesn't know Japanese, and then she's there saying like, oh, he's like oh no, he's like, you're great at it and stuff, and then she goes like, she has to like see someone, and he's there saying like, oh, who told you about that? And it's like, because she's trying to get a sword, and then she goes up into this attic basically, and it's got a load of swords up there, katanas, should I say? I don't know swords, but the red one that she first picked up, I think that one looked brilliant. So she could have just took that one. I mean, even though he was there saying like, oh no, these are just for aesthetics now, they're just to look good and collect. And so he goes like, oh, I'll make you one, and it will be the best one he's made. Well, he does do that. He does like think it's the best one he made. And then we have a bit where O-Ren's now the head of her own little group. I don't know. I do not know terms. Let's just put that out there. So I'll just say loads of random stuff, and then you can just try and figure it out. So she's the head of a group, like a mafia sort of thing. I think. Does that count as the Yakuza that she's the head of at that point? I don't know. But the guy doubts her because of her heritage. He's just there saying like, I can't remember what her heritage is, but it's like he's there saying like, oh, it's dishonorable and stuff, and then she goes and does a little jog on the table, so she's like running over to him, and it's like a big table, and it's just, I just thought the jog along the table was quite funny until she decapitated that dude, because then it was just like a head flying across the table, and then like loads of blood coming out. And again, as I didn't like blood. It's like that's not something I really wanted to see, you know. So yeah, I mean, at least she's a badass person in it. But again, did not need to see all the blood. There was music in the corridor at one point in the film, and I was like, "Is it the same music as when those adverts used to get on DVDs? Where it's like, you wouldn't steal a car. And it's like, so why pirate a DVD? It's like that sort of thing. It's like d d d d d d d d like that. That's what it sounded like in the film. And oh my god, I just realised it could be that they got it from that. Mind blown if it is. I mean, I do not know. It could be two different songs, but I'll be mind blown if that I've just figured that out. She has the bride character, as she's on her kill spree. She has this yellow outfit, like a whole jumpsuit, and she also has a yellow bike, and it's just like she just looks like a bee buzzing along down the motorway on that bike going along, because it's just like all yellow. It was all yeah, that's Coldplay. But when she goes in, she's like having a battle, and so she. Oh, it wasn't. It was Go-Go when she goes to like fight her. She's like swinging around this like ball thing, like ball on a chain, and a mace. Is that what it's called? But it's like she's swinging around because it's all got spikes on the ball, and then so as she's doing that, she hits. Did she hit the woman or like some else? But it just sounds like bowling, like pins falling in bowling, like that whole like. I can't recreate that noise. What am I doing? But like when you bowl in real life or on the Wii, when you bowl and it has all the pin sounds falling over. That's what it sounded like. I know that's just a really stupid point that I've been trying to explain for the past like minute, but that's what I put. The Yakuzas went in with a lot of theatrics when she called for backup, because she's like, "Oh, did you really think it'd be that easy to come and kill me?" And then like she just like hears loads of cars, and it's like a billion Yakuza men just come in, and women, and then they're just like they just jump. Some of them are jumping over the stair banners. It's like woo, and it's just like they are theatrical. It's just like, did they all have like theatre training where it's just like, oh, make sure you do your gymnastics, guys? It's like, yeah, it's like. It's like if that was real life, it'd be really interesting to see. Just like, oh wow, good job at your gymnastics, pal. You get in there. The one dude in the film had a similar death to Darth Maul when he was like cut in half. They had this song in it, the this like that shimmy song, and all I could think of was The Office at that point, because they did that as a cold open in The Office US, where they were doing it, where they just like The Office were doing that music video thing, and it's like when they had like all the streamers going across like and that. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of, because I'm a fan of The Office, if you couldn't tell. And then what genre is this? Action comedy? I don't know if it was, because there wasn't a ton of funny stuff in it. It was just a lot of death, to be honest. But it's like with some of it, like they had like weird screams, and it's like they kept calling this dude in it Charlie Brown, just because he was wearing yellow with a brown line on it, and it's just like, so that guy will forever be Charlie Brown. But it's like, is it meant to be an action comedy? I can't really tell what genre it's meant to be. I mean, action, I'd say definitely. Comedy, however, I don't know. I don't think so, to be honest. Sorry. I like the different transitions between styles with the black and white color anime, as I've already said. Because it was in a restaurant where all the people were getting murdered by the bride to get to Oren. So all the men she had to go through first. There's just blood everywhere in this restaurant now. And the woman who owns it is just freaking out. She's like, "Oh my god!" And she's just screaming because yeah, seeing as now all your walls and floor is just blood, I can see why that would be a problem. It's like, would she clean that herself, or would she get police, or would that be outside of their control? I mean, normally, like in that sort of thing, you'd have crime scene cleaners, but is that something that they would do, or would she just have to do all that herself? Because if she had to do all that herself, I'd say just pack up and move. I'd say that's too much hassle to try and clean. I'd say you just cut your losses. Oh, I've lost my restaurant. I'll just move on with life. That's what you'll probably need to do. Okay, so near the end of the film, we're getting to her battle with O-Ren, and they're like out in the snow. I thought it was a good contrast because it's like all nice, like snow's meant to be like pure and white and everything because, you know, it's meant to be innocent. And so it's just like quite a thing to see in the snow. And so there's like parts where they're fighting each other, and it's like there's cuts of blood, and then blood goes across the snow, which is like a very colourful contrast to the white on the floor. So it's like bright red in the white ground, which visually does look quite good. But again, it is meant to be blood, so not the best. And then as they're fighting, the bride goes and cuts O-Ren, and I believe it's the top of her head that comes off because you can see her brain. I did not need to see a person's brain in this movie at all, and it is the worst because she talks after her head's come off, like not her head, but the top of her head has come off, and it's like her brain's sticking out, and then she could boof head first in the snow, and I think the rest of her head went flying off, and it was shocking to watch. I'm speaking like this is a documentary. And then it gets to the point where she sent the person back to Bill, and then he goes like so that she gets information out of the woman, and then she says to tell Bill all the information that the bride knows so that he knows what she knows. So it's like a level sort of playing field sort of thing. And he's there saying like, oh, does she know her daughter's alive? And then she's like, no. He's like, oh, good. And then that's how it ends. It just ends. And that's like a cliffhanger where you're just like, oh, what is her daughter's like? Yeah, it is daughter. Yeah, her daughter's alive. Okay. So that is the notes I made in the film. And so now we're going to go through Letterboxd to see the reviews. What should we start on? Positive and negative. Let's do positive first. Highest rating. Go. I want Uma Thurman. Never in my life have I ever wanted to see someone else's toes move so bad. Now, if any of you sons of bitches got anything else to say, now's the fucking time. And when I arrive at my destination, I'm going to kill Bill. Everything about this movie is perfect. No badass female protagonist could ever top the energy the bride exudes in this film. She's the blueprint of badass female cinema. The twisted nerve sequences is one of my favourite things in life. Bride's too tired to serve this much. This movie makes me believe I too can be a powerful woman. There is absolutely nothing I don't love about this movie. It said like spoiler, so it was blocking off what the actual review was. But the review was, she didn't even kill Bill. I'm assuming that's volume 2. But again, I haven't seen it. Cinematography and direction among the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful, of Tarantino's masterpieces. The story of revenge that takes on bitter but sweet flavour at the same time. An impeccably perfect Uma Thurman and an iconic soundtrack that stays stuck in your head. You can't help but stay with your eyes glued to the screen the whole time. The animated sequence was one of the best ever. I love Tarantino even more after that. Love it, an art piece of a movie. Never has revenge looked so good. Kill Bill oozes style. It is a faithful mashup of B-movie, samurai, martial arts. When they said B-movie, it's not B-E-E movie. It's B, capital B, movie. So I don't know if that is a movie or not, but not the B movie with Barry B. Samurai martial arts film and spaghetti western that feels very of the time, but has Tarantino's signature style, giving it a much more timeless feel. No joke, this might be my favourite Tarantino film as far as visuals go. It's so unique. Too many iconic visuals to count, and the violence, the incredibly over-the-top, sweet violence is insane. I love the blood effects, I love me a good revenge story, and there's plenty of it here. I'm curious to see how this story wraps up, and if anything in its ending recontextualize the first volume. And what a frigging cliffhanger too. I'm immediately diving into volume 2. If this man ever made an anime movie or show, I would eat it up. So high praise for that review. Revolutionary. I just watched Kill Bill Volume 1 for the first time. Kill Bill Volume 1 was a really good Quentin Tarantino film. It's exciting and above all, quite brutal. I also really like Uma Thurman and I'm really looking forward to Kill Bill Volume 2. It's a piece of art. Quentin always knows how to write Uma's roles as the blankiest woman. I'm not going to say that because that is one that I have been not going to say. This is what you get for fucking around with Yakuzas. Go home, you mother. Oh, go home to your mother, not you. Go home, you mother. So unreal, holy shit. This movie is so ridiculous, I love it. 17-year-old Gogo Yubari. Oh, wow. I do not know. But. Now I can understand all the Iggy Azalea music video. Need to watch Volume 2. I don't know why I haven't. I didn't remember that this was this good. This film is just so cool and epic. The fight choreography is amazing and the fight sequence is amazing. This film also includes the best soundtrack of Tarantino's filmography. The anime sequence is amazing too. I watched this with my dad and he thought that this was pretty great. Would be perfect if she didn't say, now let's get those other piggies wiggling. Actually, never mind, it's still perfect, but she shouldn't have said that. Perfect movie and does effing it well in it. QT, gotta chill out with the foot fetish. This is Tarantino's best, clear, detailed, and colourful storytelling. How could this not be on the top of your Tarantino ranked list? I could watch this on repeat for the rest of my life. Watch this in my hotel room on Vice with a 16:9 aspect ratio and Frankie Muniz Hair Club for Men commercials scattered throughout. Great time. The entire movie is a masterwork, but the crazy 8-8 fight is one of the greatest things I have ever seen in the movie. Rewatching this, and it's definitely one of my favourite films from Tarantino. The aesthetics, cinematography, and soundtrack is amazing. The Bride is one of my favourite characters of all time. I love Oren Ishii so much as well. The jewel at the end is breathtakingly beautiful. We're now going to go on to rated. We're going to go on a lower rating. Sort by lowest first. Now these are the people who hated the film. 1.5 stars. They didn't kill Bill. Awful. Tarantino should do better. Not good. Action scenes are far too long and with very little plot. Clearly, I am not the target audience for shit like this. Fell asleep watching. 54 minutes that accounted for half a star. It's called Kill Bill, but she doesn't kill Bill. What a ripoff. It's crazy how people have different perspectives. This must be one of the worst movies I have ever seen. The fighting scene in the Japanese restaurant dragged on forever, and then she had to fight more. At that point, I was just watching to say I had watched Kill Bill, not because I was interested in the ending. I don't like movies that take the audience intelligence lightly. One person is killing a whole fucking gang. Okay, great suspension of disbelief. Completely not active. Not completely not active. That's just how it ends. What? Insane stereotypes, comma, thing. Anyone normal, probably you won't like it. 2 hours, I'll never get back. She didn't kill Bill, though. Written and directed by men 100%. I had a 2-hour ADHD outburst because I was so bored. This was utter crap. Imagine watching this and thinking you want to watch the next one. Hard fit, though. Damn. Said before, I'll say it again. The kind of Tarantino that makes you hate Tarantino. Tell me this is satire, I beg. Stupidest film I've ever seen. You have to despise women to make something like this. Tarantino is literally 15 years old. People seem to think this is empowering. It's literally his own custom-made porn, complete with feet, Japanese schoolgirl, coma, etc., etc., etc. Have you ever laid awake at night wondering why Hollywood won't just let a white man with a foot fetish shout out his wet dream version of what it would be like if, zero context, a once pregnant betrothed white woman were beaten up by a culturally diverse group of snake-named assassins just so she could go on a blood-soaked revenge killing spree while superficial references are made to an Asian cinematography. I'm not sure how QT got so many good actors to be in this flaming turd of a movie. They aren't all good, but there's enough that I can't do the math. The dialogue was horrible. So much of the plot relied on the 2D concept of revenge or a really unfortunate misunderstood idea of another culture's cinematography. I've never liked QT, but I've refused to give up on some of his movies because they are so referenced. The worst part is I love plenty of movies that are unforgivably bad. I hardly think I'm the best source when it comes to what is good, what is a good movie, or what is bad. But this was so unrelatingly bad that I don't see how any of the QT movies I've seen are ever going to be remembered as classics or obscene gems. They don't even stick with me as a funny, bad joke when I'm turning the TV off. That was a huge comment. Can't even force myself to finish this pile of shite. The fetishizes violence against women. It's torture, porn, and gratuitous sexual violence, problematic in so many ways. I can't be bothered to list them all. Fuck this and fuck Quentin Tarantino and all his disgusting fetishes. It's so fucking boring. I wish I hadn't wasted a second on this rubbish. Thought this movie was about Chumley, utterly disappointed and complete waste of my time. Thought this was about Bruce Lee, utterly disappointed and absolute waste of my time. That was by the same person, 2 different comments. I'm sorry, but I cannot get through this movie for the life of me. Not my type of film. Sorry to your Quentin Tarantino fans. I will get blasted for this, but I think this was the worst action movie I've ever seen. I feel like Tarantino purposely makes this movie slow, unengaging, and boring. I don't care if having no music during action is mature or fascinating creative decision. That shit is boring and I never want to see it again. Costume design is like best I've ever seen though, can't deny that. And it was great costumes. The only good scene was when she kept repeating wiggle your big toe for me and zoomed into her feet for like 10 minutes. That was the worst scene. What are you on about, man? What did I just witness? Honestly, I thought it was okay, maybe even a little bit bad. And that was half a star. Probably a good movie, but I was fucking with it on in the background, so I don't know. The people I live with made me watch this, and while I was on all the plants in my cookie clicker garden died. F you, Louis and Hannah. This shit was trash. I couldn't tell if I was supposed to be a comedy with sound effects and the blood spurting. The set looks fake as hell, and the timeline was so wonky. There are more things I'm just not even gonna mention because what? Uma is so justified in killing everyone, but she could have done it so much faster, and we didn't need so much backstory. Just let her go and kill. Let her do her kill list and move in one movie. I don't know how this receives any hype, and I'm still trying to find out if it's supposed to be funny or satirical. I'm honestly so exhausted from how horrible this movie was. The action was bad, the sound effects and filters were horrific. Why the fuck was everyone spraying an ungodly amount of blood? The timeline was so confusing, like why were we in the present but then spent all the rest of the movie in the past? Also, the feet were ugly. Jesus, that shit was really bad. I recently fell off my scooter. This made my injuries worse. Okay, so yeah, that thing with the blood, it's like there's a woman who had her arm cut off and then it just like sprayed a ton of blood all over the room. And it's like, how has she got any left at this point? But yeah, it wasn't the best. So I'm gonna go move on to the ranking of the film, which last week I did forget to rank Toy Story, but I have put it in its place on the board so we can see it today. Okay, so here's the stuff. As you can see, my foot's gone to sleep. As you can see, Toy Story I have put at the top of the list over Hoodwinked and The Goonies, but now it's time to see where Kill Bill Volume 1 will go, and it is going to go here. Oh, I put it upside down. But yeah, it is going at the bottom of the list so far out of the 4 films we've done for Movie Mondays, and that is just because I have liked the other ones better, because it is Toy Story, The Goonies, and Hoodwinked. Why wouldn't they be at the top of the list? But yeah, with all the blood in it, I didn't enjoy it that much. I mean, it's like interesting to watch, and also because like it is a cult film. So it was interesting to see what it was about, because I've heard it mentioned a lot. But again, it's like not my sort of film that I would sit down and watch normally. But it's like I've seen it, and it's like, yeah, that's cool that that's happened. But again, not one of the best things I've ever seen. But it's still great, to be honest. And then, so now, because we did that was out of the movie poster, we're now going to go on to the untitled Spin the Wheel. What? And we are going to spin the wheel. Hang on, I'm just checking it's there. Oh, gone to the location. We're going to spin the wheel. What's the film? Pixar. We have Pixar again. The second time in a row we got Pixar. So the second Pixar film is that Bug's Life, I think. I'm going to quickly Google that. But we did Toy Story last time, which is the wheel spinner. So I think the wheel just really likes Pixar. But in whatever case, because we're going through them in order anyway. Hang on. Yeah, because so we're going through all the films anyway. So we've got Jurassic Park on there, James Bond, Harry Potter, things like that. And so we're going through in order. Oh, what? It doesn't say which one, like the list. Monkey Yellow Car, blah, 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 blah. 1995 to present. Toy Story was number 1, A Bug's Life second in 1998. So it goes, yeah, Toy Story, A Bug's Life, then Toy Story 2. Okay, so next week's film is A Bug's Life, which is one I saw ages ago because it's like that bug circus in it, and you've got Flick the ant. So that'll be an interesting film to rewatch, because I saw it ages ago, but I don't remember too much about it. So we'll just see how that goes. But this has been episode 4. I'm just making sure I haven't got anything left. Episode 4 of Movie Mondays podcast. I have been your host, Jay Greening, and this has been Kill Bill Volume 1. you might really like the film, and I agree, it was a fun, interesting film to watch. But again, probably not my sort of style. But it was still great to watch anyway. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week with another episode of Movie Mondays with A Bug's Life. Again, just so you get some in your mind. So you can watch A Bug Life for next week, so you can just watch a podcast straight away. You don't have to go, oh, I need to watch a film first. So you can watch A Bug's Life. I might be watching at the same time. Thank you, and goodbye.